My thing that I kept telling myself, like all the workout regimens, all the quick lose weight schemes that I was trying to do didn't last, obviously. But with the Peloton, someone had told me, now I can't remember who it was, but I'll never forget. It was stick it through because you'll thank yourself. I think it was either 3 or 6 months from now. And so that stuck into my head because, again, I would start things and then stop it. And now literally here I am 4 years later, and I'm not 100% where I want to be. But I am a lot further than what I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, and you have to find your group. I think to me, that was key, finding my group, finding my crew that just encouraged and stuck by you, like, and just was your pick-me-up.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in. Set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 244. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. So, you know what? We should probably let people know that if they just can't get enough of you, you have a new podcast.
I do. Hey, how about that?
And it's for all the people that hate MetPro, surprise, it's about MetPro.
It is. It's a MetPro podcast. It's called the MetPro Method. And there's all kinds of really cool little nuggets. And I know you're probably like, oh my God, I cannot listen to another podcast. It's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, they're all like 15 to 20 minutes long, so they're bite size.
Recorded one the other day. It was only 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you know I could be that brief?
Well, it's because I'm not there.
That's true.
But yeah, so it's another incentive for people to go check it out is you don't have to contend with me.
My laugh is still there. My laugh is still there. If you don't like it, don't join me.
And just to show you how enslaved we are to weight loss culture, the episodes are shorter. So we made them smaller because that's all we care about. The only thing we care about. So, but anyway, so that's over there if you want to go check it out.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying creating the episodes because I have learned a lot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I guess other than that, what do you have in store for people? It's a busy, busy week.
It is a busy week.
And not all catastrophe.
No, the instructors, first of all, have been very busy. So we have a lot to talk about with them. We also have a lot to talk about with lawsuits and competition. We also have a visit from the Peloton Prophet.
Yeah.
Then we have a visit from Dr. Jenn. She talks about strategies for becoming disciplined, which I feel like almost everyone can benefit from.
Sure. Even if you are disciplined, you probably would like to be more disciplined.
Yes. And then MetPro, we have some hungry people that we help out. And also there is a ton of in the news from Peloton. And we even have some celebrity stuff, some competitor stuff, some in case you missed it stuff. It's all over the place.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. You could also leave us a review. That's super helpful.
It is.
And we have a new review.
Okay.
This is from KS Skyline.
KS Skyline. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they say, one of my favorite podcasts. I've listened every Friday morning for more than 3 years. I feel like Tom and Crystal are my friends.
Aww.
Love my Peloton, but sometimes I don't even care about the Peloton news and I listen just because it gives me happy vibes. Much appreciation, guys. Leaderboard name, Happy Ever After on the bike.
Aww.
So, Happy Ever After, and then on the bike.
Well, that is a really nice review. Thank you so much for that.
And then she also says, by the way, because of y'all, I also own a tonal.
Ooh. I hope you listen to Superset too.
Yeah, totally. That's we got that out there as well. If you just can't get enough, check out the Superset. So also, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/theclipout, where you can watch all the episodes. Well, not all, but a good chunk. We've been doing it for a while now.
We have.
You can watch them there in HD quality video. And finally, if you just can't get enough or you're hunting for a specific story and you don't know where to find it, if you sign up for the newsletter at theclipout.com, you will get a weekly digest that will include all of the links that are out there for you, and also just a reminder that the episode dropped. So there's all of that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Run, lift, and live with John Mills.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube from Run, Lift, and Live, it's John Mills. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hey!
How's it going? What's happening?
Love the energy. Love it.
I'm ready to go.
So exciting.
Right. I almost couldn't find my grandpa
Oh,
shark
no. Did Zoe hide it?
Because like you have one.
Yeah.
He's got a special
You're right.
section.
I have a few of them.
Yeah. He's like, I couldn't find my one grandpa. Okay. Okay.
That's true. I did. And now she has like baby shark shirts, so it's all kind of cool. But anyways, I'm looking around, and the only shirt I had in here, I don't know if I still have it. Oh, yeah, but it's way over there. But it was like a Wu-Tang shirt that said, shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yay, shimmy, yeah. I figured that probably doesn't work for the podcast.
Do you think you could
I don't care.
done the shimmy? Maybe? I don't know.
So I ran around and I found the shirt instead.
Well, I'm glad that you found the shirt, but I would have been okay either way. Hang on, I think
And then it had lint balls, and I had to like get them all off.
I had to look at my voicemail because we just got a call. Parkway schools have closed for tomorrow. So they closed today and tomorrow. We got a big old snowstorm here, which actually there's really not that much snow. It's really just ice.
Yeah.
But we closed things here. So
Yeah. So I guess let's dig in.
we should dig in.
So I guess we'll start with some lawsuit news. Our first is Peloton knocks willful infringement allegations out of iFit suit.
I like how you started with the positive news,
Well, yeah.
Tom.
What's that mean to people?
It means that iFit had said that Peloton had willfully infringed on their patents, and Peloton got that dismissed. That iFit could not convince the court that the alleged infringement of the weight cradle patent was willful. Doesn't mean that it's done. Doesn't mean that it's over.
It was purposeful.
That
That's
it was
right.
purposeful. Right.
No.
Willful / purposeful.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So I don't know why we're arguing over weight cradles. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, but I did see your commentary about
That's
this.
where I was with it.
I know. But I kind of agree with other people that are saying like, but you gotta protect your IP because like, you know, as much as we like to kind of bag on what is the spin people, because they still have spin out there as a word, and we're
Mad
all like,
Dog.
Mad Dog, those guys. Well, but the thing is the reason that they were able to keep it that way for so long and still do, it still hasn't changed.
They defended it.
They defended it, and you have to be aggressive, because if you're not aggressive with these types of things, then like precedents will show that you weren't aggressive about it. You can't just pick and choose. You have to be consistent, and so I do understand that as well. And so I think Peloton has to do that, you know?
Well, in this scenario, with this particular one, it was iFit that had some patent that aligned to, you have some place where your weights sit, which is the cradle behind your bike. And at some point in the class, it digitally tells you, oh, go pick up your weights now. And so that is what was patented, like the combination of it's telling you to do it. Oh, and it's, my weights, they're right there. You know?
What?
Hey, so which all sounds crazy to me. It all sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
That it's even a patent for that. I guess when Bike Plus came out, and then you have the line in an on-demand class that said, we're doing weights now. And then you go, you just infringed. As soon as you pick that weight up, you just infringed.
You infringer.
You're such an infringer. Can we all get T-shirts made up that say infringer?
Infringer. Just a bad word right there. Infringer.
Now I got that song by Snow stuck in my head. Infringer. Do you remember that?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Informer?
Informer. Yes, that's what it was.
I lick you boom boom down. That song.
Oh, that
remember that
one.
one.
I
Yeah.
got the boom boom down part. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know
you
you're
do.
talking.
It's funny. Snow clicked in my mind But then Infringer, I was going, that was that a remix?
Yeah, I just did it.
Tom just did it.
I just did it.
Oh, you were doing the remix.
I'm a regular DJ John Michael. I'm DJ Tom Michael.
That's funny.
So in other lawsuit news, my computer ever catches up.
Lots of them.
Yeah, so on the Echelon front,
boo, hiss.
I guess they persuaded the court that Peloton's streaming tech is unpatentable.
Yeah, this is weird to me. Like, you can go back after you've been awarded a patent and they can remove the patent.
I feel like if that happens, the patent office should have to pay your legal fees.
I agree.
Like, you told me I had this, and now you're saying I shouldn't have done it. Well, then that's your fault. Here's what you owe me.
Yeah, like, why is that a thing? Why can you go backwards and say it's not a patent? We never should have put it there? What?
Well, what even is more confusing to me about this one is this is related to the suit that was filed back in 2019, these two patents. And the patents, when I read through them, it just sounds like it's about the idea that you're on a bike somewhere. You know, I'm here in Connecticut, I'm on bike, and, you know, and you're wherever you're at and you're on your bike, and our metrics can magically show up together and we can compare on a leaderboard, like some type of a networking based type patents that have something to do with the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Well, Peloton was just awarded patents relative to that same concept in December. So these patents are from years ago, and then they just got awarded others that to me sound similar in December. So I don't know what this means. So then they revoked the ones from 2019. What does that mean for the ones in 2021?
Yeah.
Like, I'm all confused with this. I don't know.
I almost feel like the courts are like, you know what? You put a tablet on a bike, get over yourself, and they don't want to deal with any of them. Because both of these cases seem to be saying the same thing, which is like, look, man, what are you doing? Like, this isn't that.
But
that's basically what I said in my group. But I know this is just layman John that doesn't really know about any of this stuff, right? And I'm like, well, is this like the beginning of the courts going, okay, hold up, okay, look it, you cannot patent a water bottle holder, okay?
Right?
Is this the start of that? Like, I don't know.
It's like when your parents are like, you know what? Then nobody gets McDonald's.
Okay, so let's just kind of go down that rabbit hole for a second, though. But the thing is, there should be, if there does not exist, a patent that says that like Peloton is the first one that streamed the classes. I'm not talking about watching it on a stupid VHS. I'm saying they put the technology in place to take a class while you're at home. That is new. That was disrupted. So how is that not patentable? You know what I'm trying to say.
My only thought would be that, like, they didn't invent streaming technology. They just, when I was a kid, this is going to shock people. I used to ride my bike all the time.
I've heard this.
And so.
Never seen it. I just heard it.
Well, yeah, because I was a kid. So you wouldn't have been around.
I would just think there would be a bike you could ride now. But there's another story. Go on.
So I wanted to listen to the radio, and so I had a transistor radio because it was the 50s.
It was in the 50s. How old do you think you are?
And I duct taped it to my handlebars, and then took an X-Acto knife and cut out the hole where the speaker was, so I could hear the music. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't invent anything. I duct taped a radio to a bike. Like, Peloton, God love them. At the end of the day, they duct tape Netflix to a bike. They make great content, but like, I wonder if that's where the courts are landing. Like, you duct taped a tablet to a bike, and that's not patentable.
But if it were that simple, if that's all it is, okay, then why is it like they were able to do this and nobody else did for years? Like this has been we've had
nobody
home
else
workouts.
duct taped their bike to the handlebars of their.
I've been sitting here this time trying to come up with a joke about the transistor radio on the bicycle handlebar. I can't come up with one.
He's like, I don't even know what you're saying anymore. I'm still trying to come up with the joke.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with the joke. I couldn't even hear what you guys say. I was thinking so hard. I couldn't come up with it. But I thought that I always took the innovation in it was that not just that you could take the class and you see it on this screen that's on the bike, but now I'm comparing metrics with people anywhere in the world, like the networking aspect of it.
Well, and it sounds like that's what this patent is saying.
Right.
Go ahead. So go ahead. Yeah.
That's where I then get confused, because if this isn't patentable, then what?
Then what
I'm not as clear. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I guess to me, the reason that I think it's patentable, we need to come up with another word for this.
Word.
Able to be patented.
Able to be patented. Okay, the reason that I think that it should be, here's my logic. We had to go to court. Because I'm part of Peloton.
Well, you own stock.
That's right, yeah.
But we all had to go to court to talk about how the music was going to be handled, because the music was going to be streamed and it had never been streamed during a class before. So if that's different, then why the hell isn't this different? Explain that to me. That's my logic.
I think that's a fair point.
Done. I rest my case, Your Honor. They need to hire me.
But I think they'll say one's copyright law, one's patent law.
I don't care. But if you can still defend one, no, seriously.
I don't think you can legally go into court and say, but Your Honor, I don't care.
No, you're right. But I am saying logically.
That should be valid.
It should be.
It should be.
My divorce would have been a lot quicker.
Hell yeah.
Your Honor, I don't give a shit.
Sustained.
But I mean, in all sincerity, logic follows that if you have to go to court to figure out how you should take care of music rights and how that should be done, because it's a new way of taking care of the artist. It's a new way of sending out their music. It's a new type of performance. I don't understand how this could be considered not to be new. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think that is a valid point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to dig into this more.
We do.
Analysis.
Whoever is out there that deals with patents, please call me, text me, email me. We need you on the show, because we need to dig into this, because I don't understand how one is defendable and one is not. I need details.
Okay.
All right.
But that's what's going on out there.
It sounds like, anyway.
So moving right along.
I just like that now. I need a gavel.
Yes. Moving right along.
Tom's favorite subject of the day. Oh my God. This is craziness.
Who owns Beach Sweat, R-rated sexy exercise platform combines OnlyFans and Peloton?
Yeah, and they call it, what do they call it?
Exercise.
Well, they had like a term. Now I can't remember what. Visual fitness.
Tom Scroll. We need the term.
Like it's intended to inspire you to work out, because you're seeing these instructors wearing risque attire.
I mean, being inspired to work out. What are they inspired to do? I don't think we call that a workout. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
Visually inspired fitness.
Visually inspired fitness. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think their slogan is "You do me." They don't have a heart rate monitor. They have a hard rate monitor.
That girl's not even wearing spin shoes on that stupid spin bike. She's got tennis shoes on. And how do you even sit on that seat with that thong? Come on.
It's the first bike that rides you.
No. Remember there was that one thing that came out and they had the...
I don't know anything about this.
Yes, you do.
I do.
There was the bike with the seat that you could
make it the O seat or whatever. You could get your jollies on a Peloton. They had a seat made just for that.
Let's say the seat would make it very hard to fall off.
Wow.
Yeah.
In my group, with regard to this, they were very concerned about these cycling classes on the beach and sand. I don't know why they were so concerned about it.
I know, because it's not like there's sand in your living room or wherever you have your bike.
These women are going to be making pearls.
Gross. Oh, Tom, you killed John. Oh, no.
Remember, you can't spell competition without tit. Well, you can't.
You're right.
You're not wrong. It's just spelling.
I posted this in the group, and I had like 5 serious questions. Like I got all serious.
How?
Not one person tried to answer one of my questions.
Because
it was
it's
just a whole list of jokes.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, John. There is nothing
I got no
serious.
answers to my questions.
I mean, this is just an excuse for people to look at women that they find attractive and not. I mean, they're not exercising. This is not inspiring anyone to exercise. When they say combining OnlyFans and Peloton, no, all you're doing is OnlyFans while they happen to be starting with a workout. And this tip jar, apparently, they're not finishing with the workout. Is all I'm saying. Like,
they're finishing.
Okay. So they've only been out for 3 weeks, and they've gained 30,000 subscribers in that 3 weeks.
Well, that does not surprise me.
In this article, they're quoting supposedly a former Peloton subscriber. And
his name is Lester. I am suspicious. I am suspicious.
And rightly
it's
so.
the New York Post. I mean,
it's the New York Post. I have been slammed for even posting articles from the New York Post. So
You're right.
His name is Lester.
Okay, but he says he was just not getting what he wanted out of Peloton.
Okay, well,
and he tried to do weights without a platform, and he couldn't get inspired. And this kind of gave him that inspiration to work out.
What is he lifting? I
think we know what he's lifting.
That right? I don't think.
It's twice the fitness because you're exercising and you're thinking about baseball.
This is not like listen, you know, people are going to look at what they're going to look at. I'm not judging at all. I can care. No. That's not what I'm judging. What I'm judging is to call it a workout.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, those magazines that they would have like women draped on a car and then they would be like, oh, look at that beautiful car. I'm only looking at this magazine because it's beautiful cars. No, you weren't. I know.
I like Hooters for the wings.
Right.
When's the last time you got carry out?
Come on. You're not. Yeah. If you just cared about the wings, you'd get carry out every once in a while. That's not what's happening. Come on.
Well, you know, I'm going to follow these guys because I got to determine whether or not I need to add them to my list of social media, you know, follower list.
Is this the story you're giving Erica?
Is this? Yeah. Is this?
I gotta get. You know, I need to do some serious research. Are you gonna
be taking some of these classes? Is that how serious you're getting?
I may need to check it out. I don't know. I gotta figure out what is really going on here.
I think you know what's really going on, John. They are draped across the hood of the car. It is not necessary for them to be there.
They got yoga and strength.
I bet they do. I bet they do. Next thing you know, it's going to be like, oh, it's our 2-for-1 class today. Yeah, I see where that's going.
You know what I forgot?
What?
Is that after every class in this app, you can hit a button to tip the instructor. They have a tip jar.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's how they're finishing a class. I mean, I think that this is, instead of it being a combination of OnlyFans and Peloton, I'm pretty sure it's OnlyFans wearing exercise gear and pretending to exercise. I don't think this is real work being done.
Well, based on the pictures, they've been exercising.
Right, but they're not during this. I'm not saying they never exercise. I don't think that's the main motivation. You know,
I suggested in my group, which is under one of my questions, of which no one in my group answered, not one. I got 100 comments, and every one of them avoided all of my serious questions.
Oh, okay. Let's
just
answer
100 jokes.
Okay, well, you know, give me your
one
question.
Of the question. I can't remember the question, but under one of the questions, I asked, I suggest, I'm like, they probably shouldn't do in-person classes.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think that would be a good look.
You know, if you just think about the fact that the instructors at Peloton had to start having bodyguards. You know, like, I don't even know what this would be. I'm scared of what would happen because there are people that just, they walk up and take things, you know, they feel entitled. I'm worried about the sense of entitlement that would happen here in this particular.
I remember one of my serious questions, at least one. Okay. One was, is this an extreme, but is there an evolution happening is this just kind of happening to some extent anyway, where there are instructors on various platforms that have sexualized it a little bit, and thus kind of promote what they're doing, and this platform is just pull the bandage off and say, look, okay,
I'm not going to avoid it. I'm not going to avoid it. We had an instructor on Peloton. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. If you've been in Peloton world from the beginning, you know what instructor I'm talking about. They no longer work at Peloton, and they were always hypersexualized, always compared to every other instructor. So, and they still are on their Instagram. Every single post is sexualized, and whatever, you know, that's how they roll. So that's what gets the clicks for them, right or wrong.
And so that's exactly what my question is. I started thinking, is how different is this from how the space is working now, really?
I have a hard time, like, a problem seeing it as a serious workout. Like, I couldn't watch those videos and be taking them seriously because it's so over the top. Just the pictures that you have on that they put on their article or whatever, like, just that is like, oh whatever. There's no way I'm taking this seriously.
They're targeting a certain demo and it's not you.
It's not me.
Yeah.
It's not me. So, I mean, it's not crazy that's not my thing. But for people that like, they enjoy the visuals while they're working out, it's really, I guess, no different. I mean, there are tons of both men and women that have spoken about how attractive Peloton instructors are. And for some of them, that is their main reason for working out with a certain instructor. So I honestly, in all sincerity, all joking aside, if they're really doing workouts and they're really, like, actually putting science behind the workout and, like, it's a good workout, good on them. If it's not, then it's a joke, and I don't know how to take it seriously. I personally can't watch it, take it seriously.
You know, I have a lot of, weights, and this, in my garage, a lot of iron, a lot of dumbbells and stuff. And one of the images is of one of their instructors. A lot of these workouts are on the beach. Some of them are actually in a facility, but some of them are at the beach, and they have an image of one of the instructors doing strength training, and they're like in the water, like doing like curls with like some dumbbells. My mind goes to, I ain't doing that. That's like salt water, and my weights are going to start to rust. That don't make any sense.
And that's the type of thing that makes it hard to and seriously take it seriously. Like, I mean, all joking aside, that's the kind of thing that makes it difficult. Or that girl wearing tennis shoes on a spin bike. That's what makes it hard to take it seriously, because it's more about the aesthetics of how that girl looks than a real workout. And so that's where I feel like, yes, there are instructors that have always, whether it be Peloton or anybody else, like, sexualize themselves as they, advertise, but like, there's, even the instructors that used to be at Peloton that I was saying, like, they still could deliver a good workout. Like, you could still get a good workout and take the science behind what they were saying seriously. In this particular case, I look at that and I'm not seeing science, because the water thing is obvious, but also, like I said, you're not wearing spin shoes, you're wearing tennis shoes, you're wearing a thong on a bike seat. That is not for comfort. That is not for, like, getting a good workout in. That is for aesthetics only. And you're only trying to please people visually. You're not trying to give them a good work. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are two different things. I know
exactly what you're saying. Like, when I looked at, like, the yoga image they have in the article, I'm like, that ain't yoga. But so I gotcha. Like,
like, you're bending over, but it's not yoga.
But I like how he had to look closer. You see how he leaned in? He was.
It's research. He told you he's researching.
I want to know what Erica thinks.
I had to get close.
I want to know what Erica thinks of this research.
But it was literally, when I posted it, though, I hadn't processed it far enough, to be honest. I just thought it was an interesting platform, an interesting app, and they had 30,000 followers. So let me just ask a bunch of questions. It wasn't until people started commenting where I went, this is hilarious. Yeah. I guess I understand why they're not answering my questions.
Yeah, because no one's taking it serious.
No one
took it serious.
Yeah,
but I think that says a lot about your research. Again, joking aside, that says a lot about research because you don't need to do any. Yeah, they're going to get followers because people are watching and looking at things, but that doesn't mean that they have people engaging with the actual workout.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, John. Until next week, where can people find you?
They can find me in my Facebook page or group, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on Instagram, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on the tickety-tock, Run, Lift, and Live.
My favorite.
Or they can find me at runliftandlive.com.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you.
Talk to you guys later.
See you later.
Bye, John.
A visit from the Peloton Prophet.
So we have a visit from the Peloton Prophet. They have 2 predictions. One not so great.
Yeah, we're hearing that there are probably going to be layoffs prior to the earnings call on February 8th, and it will happen at some point that day. It's probably going to affect several different areas. It's not confined to one area at all. So not great news.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry if that is true and to anybody who is affected by that.
Yes. Hopefully the Prophet will be wrong.
Yeah, this is the only time I've ever wanted the Prophet to be wrong.
Yes. But that is what we are hearing.
Yeah.
Also, on a lighter note.
The Apple Watch is soon going to be able to use with all class types. When I say all class types, I mean all class types. So people say to me, why is this different? This is different because you can use your Apple Watch to see your Strive score on your app. What you cannot do right now is have it display the heart rate from your Apple Watch to your original Tread Plus. You cannot see it on your Tread. You cannot see it on the original Bike. You can see it on bike classes only in a Bike Plus. That will be changing. I am hearing that we will see that at the end of February. You will be able to see the heart rate displayed from your Apple Watch onto the screen. No, I do not know what version of Apple Watch that it will be working for. I assume at the very least it will be the last couple, but I don't know. We will have to wait and see. It's not an official announcement. I hear these things, so we got to wait for the official announcement to find out all the details. In the meantime, I am super excited about it. I don't have to use any third-party workarounds anymore.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
We have questions for you.
We do.
Well, one question.
Well, yeah, it's a question.
Yeah.
Tammy Barnett from the Clip Out Group wants to know that for those who are less disciplined than yourself, she says, than you, are there any strategies for becoming more regular and disciplined about exercise? And I know you have them. You have lots.
Oh, yes. Love this question. And it's so funny because since I started posting my Peloton workouts on my Insta stories, more and more people ask me about this. And because I do sports psychology, I do a lot of this in my practice. But so I love when people come to me and are like, I don't work out very much. It's really hard for me to get started. It's hard for me to get motivated. I have 2 friends, like not in my practice, who I'm helping right now form Peloton like regimens, which is so fun for me. I mean, I'm no Crystal, actually like certified as a trainer, but I do have a background in sports psychology. And so what I really recommend is, first of all, start small. It is way better that you create goals that are just super achievable that you can succeed at than you overshoot. Like the biggest mistake I see people make is, oh, I'm going to work out 7 days a week for an hour a day after not having exercise. That is the worst thing you can do. You're going to hate it. You're going to injure yourself, and it's going to be an awful experience. So start small. start really, really small. Start with 5-minute workouts, 10-minute workouts, at the most 20-minute workouts. And also start with the thing that you love the most. Like, let's say you like walking more than spinning. Well, then start with the Peloton walks. Just put on your earphones and go for an outdoor walk. Or if you really like gentle yoga, do that. But start to put together something that is just twice a week and get that consistently. And also the other thing, and I have an Instagram post I did all about like how to meet your exercise goals. And I talk a lot about these things. Put your exercise clothes out the night before. It makes a really big difference. It's a simple thing that you can do. Get your clothes on before you can even think about, like if you work out after work, don't even think about it. Like just change into your clothes. Don't think about what you're going to do or how you feel about it. Just get dressed, because a lot of the time just getting there is the hard part.
Yes.
So start with these small manageable goals and build on these goals. One of the programs that I really like at Peloton is Emma's Crush Your Core. Because everyone that I have encouraged to do that starts to exercise regularly, because every class is either 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It starts with, I think it's like 4 days a week and moves up to like 5 or 6. And I think there may be like one stretch day. What I love about that is that when you start to implement on a day-to-day basis, it's kind of like when my kids, it was time for them to go to preschool. I had choices between a 3-day-a-week program or a 5-day-a-week program. And I picked a 5-day-a-week program because I like the structure that every day the kids would be like, oh, I know what time I'm waking up. I know where I'm going. I know what time I come back. It's the same thing with exercise. If you have a certain time of day that you can always exercise, that makes it a little bit easier. If you are someone who likes the morning, God bless you. I bow down to you. As everyone here knows, I'm a night owl. But if you're someone who it's easier for you to work out before work, by all means do it. If you're someone who likes late night, great, do it. The other thing is, don't assume that nothing is better than a little. It is better that you get in a 5-minute workout. Or if you, let's say you make a goal to do 20 minutes, you know what? Sometimes you may have to break that up into 4 different 5-minute classes. Let that be okay. So having some flexibility, and also I like to have, I have a client I'm working with right now that we created a backup plan. So if she decides she's going to do a 20-minute spin, but her baby is sick, her husband can't cover her with the baby, like, then instead of doing the 20 minutes on the bike, then she's going to do a meditation and a strength class. So get that check mark, because I also think that getting that Peloton check mark really becomes a little bit addictive and fun. It's almost like a video game where you get your points, and it kind of tends to help the motivation. So there you go.
That's
fantastic. A lot of really good, actionable advice.
Yes.
So
love the verbs and the sentences.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for all of that. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on social media at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all the works. And I post my Peloton workouts on my Insta stories. And you can also find me on InStyle Magazine. I have a weekly column called Hump Day with Dr. Jenn.
Instructors in the news.
Elle Magazine, which that's a big deal.
That's a very big deal.
Has a very lengthy article about Tunde, how Tunde went from last one picked to Peloton instructor.
Yeah, it's a like you said, a very long article, and it details her long story, like her story about how it tells where she came from, and it talks about how she was as a kid. And we got to hear some of the story when we interviewed her way back when she first started at Peloton. But she also talks about her teaming up with Nike and her doing some other collaborations and like the why behind those and the significance personally to her. And so she also has some advice for beginners. There are tons and tons of good little kernels of information in this. Definitely recommend checking it out.
And then while we're talking about Tunde, she shared a sneak peek of her new book, which is called Speak, which means she shared a sneak peek.
Yes, she did. Yes, she sure did.
Say that 3 times fast. I couldn't say it once.
Well, it's the cover of Speak that she specifically did, and it's a beautiful picture of her. And she talks about finding her voice, and there was a little, it says, find your voice, trust your gut, and get from where you are to where you want to be. So I am so excited for Tunde. I'm glad this is happening. I know it is a huge deal to get a book published, and that's very exciting.
Absolutely. And according to her Instagram, the book is now available for pre-order, so you can go get yourself signed up if you're so inclined.
You sure can.
Footwear News, because who doesn't read Footwear News?
Right.
Yeah.
Every week.
Has an article about marketing plays, but within that article, they discuss that Robin Arzon was filming a new commercial for Adidas.
Yeah, and it says above it that they're launching several new women-focused initiatives as part of the brand's Impossible is Nothing campaign. And they're going to focus on supporting new and established athletes with these new products. And one of them is Robin. How cool is that?
Yeah.
She's such a badass.
Time Magazine had an article, Pandemic Endemic, How Busy People Keep It Together After 2 Years of COVID Burnout. And they had some tips on how to avoid COVID burnout. And one of those tips came from Cody Rigsby.
The need to set boundaries came up over and over, understandable given the merging of home and work in the pandemic. During a recent workout, Peloton fitness instructor Cody Rigsby said he's been sticking to his New Year's resolution of not using his phone for the first 30 minutes of the day. How cool is that?
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I jump in pretty quick. I do. Some mornings I manage to go about 10. That's about as much as I go.
Well, my phone's my alarm, so if I didn't use it for the first 30 minutes, I wouldn't wake up.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
I'm thinking he probably allows that.
I bet he does. I bet he does.
Food-sided, which I don't even know what that is, but they sat down with Emma Lovewell, and she shares how a path to balanced eating is within reach.
Yeah, and she talks through the steps of how you can have things that are healthy and things that are nourishing, and you can mix those in with fun foods and still have a balanced diet, which is great. And so those tips are there, and that's a good article.
So John Foley, who has been getting much more active on Twitter,
he has.
If it's him.
If it is, yeah.
Or it's been turned over to the social media department. But tweeted about one of Cliff's upcoming classes.
They did past classes, recent class. It said that John Foley said, wow, Cliff's gospel ride from this week was exactly what I needed today. Turned on the subtitles as it's a German language class, but the music is English and incredible. Thank you, Cliff, and all the folks who reached out and suggested we needed more gospel rides. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, John Foley thinks it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it also makes me wonder, for years, people have been asking for Christian music and worship rides. And with him saying people asked for a gospel ride and got it, it makes me wonder if you're going to finally see, some Casting Crowns or Toby Mac in there.
We shall see.
Matty Maggiacomo posted about an upcoming Valentine's Day class.
Yeah, he said he's preparing for a very special pop run on Valentine's Day, and it'll be February 14th at 6 p.m. Eastern, but he needs help. So he's looking for stories about love. So he wants to know love at first sight stories, strange romances, worst date, misconnections, and surprised reunions. And then he's asking for people to drop in their stories and leaderboard name. Now, I have been on several of Matty's classes where he has done these runs where he has done themes, and they are the best. Like, I've heard the worst wedding stories. I've heard the best Christmas stories, like all over the place. And he pulls them from so many different directions, and it makes the class, number one, entertaining because it's a Matty class, but also just so fun that the time flies by and it's not working out. It is literally hanging out with Matty and your friends because you hear from the whole community about their stories. It's amazing. I love it. I love the way he puts these classes together.
The Cookout.
So joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Angelo, here to answer all of your nutrition questions. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Going great. Good to see you both. Thanks for having me back.
Well, we love having you here because you always have such great advice for our listeners, and we've got some questions for you. And I say questions because we had a few people that have written in with very similar sounding, so I'll read all of them here.
Okay.
But this first one is from Christina Ciano. And she says, if I make smart dietary choices, I'm hungry all the time. However, her longer story is that she's a cancer survivor. Her metabolism has slowed way down due to prior treatment and surgery. She tries to incorporate plant-based meals and days in addition to a traditional diet, but she is hungry all the time. So an example, she had a large plate of lentils and vegetables. She was starving an hour later. And then there's a couple other people. Gwen Goss, she says, I'm hungry all the time. I'm adding in more protein, but I am, quote unquote, a bottomless pit. And then we have Kristen Lavin says, I need to find a solid eating plan. I will not be starving. Andrew Kovar, he is writing the Power Zone Challenge and starving all day long.
Okay. So it sounds like we have some hungry people.
It does. We need to find a way to feed them.
So big picture here, I used to have clients that would walk into our gym way back in the day when I had, brick and mortar locations, and we would have the walls lined with before and after photos of these athletes. And I would point to them and I would say, do you suppose that those athletes you're looking at on the wall are just barely counting out a single calorie here and a calorie there and just getting barely enough and hungry all the time? And they said, no, they're probably eating a ton. Mm-hmm. And that's right. So now that's one of those, we've heard you have to eat more to lose weight, but that comes with a huge asterisk, and that's a don't try this at home, folks. You just go to, well, I did what they said, I ate more, and I had the reverse option.
I was at Dairy Queen all day long.
I can't figure it out.
It's the new gym.
You're such an overachiever, Tom.
Yeah.
The big picture solution for Christina, Gwen, Andrew, hopefully I got those names right. The big picture solution is to, over time, systematically speed your metabolism, which means the clean eating in step with the exercise. And it sounds like you guys have the right strategy. But in the short term, to make your intake more tolerable, what you're going to be looking at is two different things: food volume and food timing. So what can happen is if there's uneven timing or large gaps in your fueling throughout the day, you'll get a blood sugar response that will create cravings that are greater than simply what would have happened if you were on a normal cadence of eating. So as an example, someone who wakes up, has a clean breakfast, gets a clean lunch, and then doesn't eat anything until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night will have a much harder time maintaining a reasonable intake versus someone who had extra calories in the middle of the afternoon as a light snack. Piece of fruit, some almonds, some nuts, whatever. Because what it'll do is it'll take out the additional hormonal response that's being triggered. So small meals, clean snacks throughout the day will help stabilize blood sugar. The other and probably most practical approach to this is when you are hungry, like for example, Christina, you had lentils and vegetables, which by the way is great. Don't stop doing that. What we need to have is go-tos in between. And it sounds like you're on the right track. Even if you're eating mostly plant-based, do still supplement with some protein sources. And there's a plethora of ways that you can do that. Include fats as well. Now, some fats are going to be more satiating than others. For example, you could just put some olive oil or even some butter. But my preference in these cases is I'm a big fan of nuts that have fat content, and I'm a big fan of avocados. It's one of the only fats where you get a fat and a fiber at the same time. Very satiating, very filling. When you select foods, look for foods that have a high water content. Those are going to be high volume foods. Fruits typically check that box. So if you think about it like an apple, there's not very many calories in an apple, but it's a substantial snack because of the water content in it. Same way with a lot of vegetables. Also look foods that have a high fiber content. They're going to be very filling. There are foods that are not bad in of themselves. For example, in of itself, you can get some pastas, even like a whole wheat pasta or brown rice pasta, which is moderate glycemic, which is nutritious. But what you'll notice is that to get about 45 grams of carbs via that pasta, it's going to be fed to you in a thimble because it's so dense. It's so dense in carbs. Whereas if you had that same carb serving via sweet potato, brown rice, quinoa, oatmeal, etc., now you're talking about you're going to have a whole plate of food to eat for the same amount of carbs. So as you start looking at different foods and comparing quantities, you're going to be able to find choices that are a little bit more filling. Add a side salad to everything. Add your favorite vegetables to everything. Try cooked vegetables. Now, I know there's a lot of people that talk about the nutritional value of raw vegetables. It's great. Have raw vegetables too. But I like cooked vegetables because you can eat more of it. For example, when my wife makes either just steamed or lightly sauteed green beans, it's filling, it's great, but I can only eat so much. Whereas if they're really cooked, or if I have steamed broccoli versus raw broccoli, I can eat a substantial amount that really fills up my belly. These are little tricks to go with the main entree. And if you are trying to eat more plant-based, but not entirely plant-based, a lot of our clients share that they do really well selecting mostly plant-based during the day. And if they are going to have animal protein, doing that at their evening meal, at their dinner time. And that really helps with satiety as well. So little things that you can go to. One last little tip or hack on the topic is don't drink your calories.
For sure.
We've heard that before, but here's a way that a lot of people actually drink their calories thinking, protein shakes are good for weight loss. And it can be, because it can be high protein, low calorie, but it's not going to be satiating. If you opt to have your protein via a liquid source like a protein shake, it'll fill you up for about 5 minutes, then you're going to be hungry. Whereas if you get that protein source via, you could have some chicken, you could have some fish, you could have some tofu, you could have some cottage cheese, you could have whatever protein source you prefer in its whole food state, it's going to actually fill you up for a longer period of time as your body digests it. So there's a few little hacks that you can try if you find that you're struggling with hunger.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for all those very actionable tips. And if people would like this sort of nutritional information tailored to their specific needs, where can they find you and your team of helper elves? Crystal, you're a helper elf.
Yay.
Metpro.co/TCO. Thanks, Tom.
Peloton in court.
From the New Business Herald, we get an article, Peloton's extreme sales quotas shortchanged workers, according to a new lawsuit.
Yeah, it's interesting that this lawsuit is coming out now because we've heard a little bit about this a few months ago. We reported on it. A former sales representative is saying that the company forced employees to work off the clock without paying overtime and set sales quotas impossibly high. So I don't know what is going to end up coming from this, but it will be interesting because I have seen on more than one occasion, there have been examples of people saying that they were pressured to work off the clock. Also, I'm unclear when it's sales if this person was an hourly or salary employee.
Right.
I know that different states have different laws. So it will just be interesting to see how all this plays out because you have people that are like delivery drivers and equipment handlers and people who work in the warehouses and they have like a whole list of complaints, but then you have people who are sales saying this now. So just curious to see how that's going to play out.
Absolutely.
Peloton in the news.
Peloton is commemorating Black History Month.
They are. There's a ton of new content that's coming. There's a bunch of new classes that are going to be dropped on demand, but there's also some live ones. And they have people, like different people talking about their experiences that are going to be kind of placed throughout the month. So you're going to hear from the actual community, from their standpoint, their viewpoint. So I'm really excited to see how all this comes together. It'll be interesting.
And then they also posted celebrating the Lunar New Year.
They did. Yeah, there were some special classes. I know Susie Chan taught one. I don't remember the rest of them. I think Emma Lovewell, Susie Chan, and Sam Yo. Duh, that would be obvious. Yeah, so they all taught classes to ring in the Lunar New Year. And of course, it is Year of the Tiger, which calls on strength and power. So it was really fun. They talked about, the different instructors talked about like the things that they do to celebrate the new year. And it was just kind of fun classes.
So Peloton has released a new heart rate monitor for your arm, which is not where your heart is.
It's true. It's not. So we first heard about this from the Peloton Prophet months and months and months ago, that it was going to be coming out with the Peloton Guide. However, we also reported that the Peloton Guide had been pushed back, and that's probably going to be in April. So Peloton went ahead and released the heart rate monitor. So what's different about this? Well, one thing that's different is it is an optical heart rate monitor, the one that Peloton has been selling for years in either form. There were a couple different generations of it. They were always chest straps that you could get from Peloton. And so this is the first time that they have sold one that goes on your forearm, and you are able to see the different lights, and it seamlessly turns on and connects to any of the Peloton equipment, and that will work just as well with the Guide. It will still be shipping as an option with the Guide, I believe, when that happens. So that is very cool. It also is good for people who can't wear a chest strap. You know, there might be different reasons, medical reasons, etc. So this is a good option for people to be able to do that.
CNBC is reporting that Peloton internal docs show how it slashed 2022 sales goals for the apparel unit, even though that segment revenue doubled in the previous year.
I guess I don't really see why this is such a big deal. Like, I mean, I know that the momentum, they're saying that the momentum seems to be fading, but I'm not sure that that's fair, because it's still like, it's 150 million this year, which is, last year it was 100 million. How can we call that like not good? I don't.
And they've clearly increased production because things aren't selling out like they used to. And I don't think that's because there isn't demand. I think that's because there's increased supply. And so I think they kind of figured out where their sweet spot is, and they're probably adjusting accordingly, is my guess.
Yeah. But it's interesting. They said that people have been saying, I've been seeing a lot of comments about that, they're disappointed that there's no mad rush anymore. But at the time when there was that mad rush to get it, people complained.
Yeah.
The other thing that Peloton has done is they've added more drops. Like, I don't know if people have been paying attention. There used to be 14 drops a year. Now there's a drop like every 3 days. Like, I mean, every 3 days is an exaggeration, but it is happening a lot more than it was. And so, I mean, I don't know. I
just know, watching you, it used to be a big deal and a mad rush when there was a new drop for you to get that posted for people. And now it's just like, it's just another drop.
Yeah. And the other thing is that they have their own Instagram for Peloton apparel, and now they post about it. And so all the excitement about the apparel is gone. Like, part of the excitement used to be that people would find out about it ahead of time, and then they would post, and it would be all this like, oh my God. And you'd tell your friends. And now it's just like, okay. Like, they've just kind of sucked all the excitement out of it. These people saying that the quality isn't as good, I have not personally seen that. Whether or not it's really a knockoff of Lululemon and what happens with that lawsuit, I don't know. We will see. But I think the bigger issue is the excitement is gone.
Yeah.
We need to, I mean, we don't need to be so exclusive that nobody can get it, but somewhere between so exclusive nobody can get it and like, because I think everybody's just at right now.
Yeah, I would agree, just from what I've seen online. Bloomberg has an article, Apple probably won't buy Peloton despite investor push, which is what our resident Peloton expert has been saying for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of just done hearing this. Like, it's just silly. It's just silly how many times I've heard this. I mean,
yeah, I just don't see why Apple would want to mess with it. I know they have got their own Apple Fitness, but like Peloton is at a different level. And plus I don't know that they want to acquire other equipment they didn't design.
Yeah, they don't.
Although they bought Beats, that's equipment they didn't design.
That's true. But it's also much smaller. You know what I mean? Like Beats itself, not like people don't buy Beats. I don't mean that. It's a huge market, but like it's a much lower like barrier to entry.
And it's also a more obvious integration with something they're with their core brand.
Yeah.
Right.
This would be like, we have them and now we got to rebrand everything, because I don't think they'd want to use Apple Fitness with Peloton products. I don't know. They've already gone so far down that road. It just doesn't make sense.
They'd have to do a major rethink.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think Peloton's getting bought at all. I know a lot of people think they are, but I don't. I just don't. I don't think so. I don't think Peloton wants to be bought. And right now, with them owning 80% of the shares that make decisions, I think they get to decide.
Yeah.
I mean, that could change, but right now, don't see it.
Yeah.
Don't see it for the next year, at least.
The CNN has an article, Peloton diehards are sticking with the flailing company. I think flailing is a bit harsh.
You think?
But again,
number one comment on that was flailing. Like people had so many issues with the word flailing.
Yeah. But I will also say something else we've been saying for a long time, which people still love the bike. They still love their tread. They still love the content and the instructors. When I decide whether I want a Coke or a Pepsi, I don't look to see who has better stock valuation. Like, that's just not how it works. And so the average consumer, for all of everyone's focus, including ours, on their current situation, the average person who engages with Peloton does not give 2 squirts of piss about what's going on in the boardroom.
Absolutely agree. 100%. Glad CNN's saying it. Even though I heard lots of crabbing about CNN too.
Yeah.
But whatevs.
Whatever. And while we're talking about flailing...
3 must-heed lessons from Peloton's decline. They yell the headlines, so I had to yell it at you.
This is from Inc.com, and they know all about what Peloton should have done now that they can look back.
Yeah, get rid of Foley, basically, is the first one. And then invest in new growth markets before your current one matures. K. And bet on your strengths or create new ones. Yeah, they definitely haven't bet on their own strengths.
Yeah.
I mean,
invest in new growth markets before your current one matures. So like acquire Precor?
Is that maybe
right? Do the thing that you did, but that we bitch about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
They should keep Foley. I love Foley. Leave him alone. I'm going to be like that guy. Leave Brittany alone.
Well, you know what? History bore him out.
That's true. That is true. I hope it doesn't take that long.
And I don't remember that person, and I think they might be trans now. And if they are,
oh my God, I'm so sorry. I have no idea. I don't look that person up. I wouldn't know. I'm so sorry.
But like, I don't remember. So I apologize.
The person was male. Identifying
at the time. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So once again, Peloton found itself in the crosshairs of SNL, but not really necessarily because of anything they did. They just had a joke about another pop culture based heart attack that was seen on the show Billions. Yeah.
And really, I think they kind of just wanted to set it up like what's going to happen on Squid Game season 2, you know? Yeah. I mean, it's fair.
Totally. And then finally in Real Estate Weekly, which is after food school.
This is totally my weekly
whatever.
Reading. Yeah.
So AMA Group delivers on Peloton NYC headquarters expansion. So it looks like it's just an article about they're the design company behind the look.
Yeah, I wanted to focus on a couple of things.
Sure.
So it was it was 312,000 square foot headquarters at Hudson Commons, and they're also going to be the same people are going to be working on Peloton's distribution facilities. But I thought it was interesting because they will occupy floors 4 through 11 of the building and 13,000 square foot basement. That houses a fabrication lab and support space. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Extensive workstations across all departments, including engineering, apparel, apparel, and product teams, key spaces such as software labs, user testing, music lounges, and an editing space were designed for ongoing development. Office space also includes a large employee amenity program with huddle and meeting rooms, an employee gym, and creative and social lounges. I just thought it was cool. I loved when we got to do our tour of the old headquarters. Totally. And so I love seeing these details. It's fun. It's really neat. I hope we get to go back and do another one.
Peloton Celebrity Sightings.
So Melanie Lynskey, star of Yellow Jackets, and she's been working for years. She's been in tons of stuff.
So many things. I recognize her from so much.
Yeah. She burst on the scene in Heavenly Creatures not a million years ago, making her sound like she's 100 years old. But like it feels like it was a long time ago. But she's been taking some, I don't want to say heat, but like she threw shade at the production company she was working for because they implied that she needed to lose weight and she wasn't having it.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of back and forth about her lately, but she had actually tweeted in response to someone complaining about her size, because it's as if it's their business. Bitch, you don't see me on my Peloton.
Yes.
So
yeah,
apparently
good for her.
She has a Peloton. Good for her. So there is a picture of her, a normal human-sized woman.
Yeah. And I know somebody's going to say she spelled it wrong. I know.
She did spell it wrong, but
we know what she meant, though. So we're going to go ahead and give her a pass. She's not one of the like mad, crazy people like us that love it as much.
Yes.
You know? So got to give her a little grace.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was cool.
Absolutely.
Good for her for calling him out. People should not comment on other people's bodies.
Yeah.
Like, just don't.
Checking out the competition.
We have another entry into we want to be the Peloton of insert something here. Mm-hmm. I guess you could have said that same thing about that sexy fitness company.
They want to be the Peloton of OnlyFans.
They want to be the Peloton of insert something here.
Fair enough.
But we have a company that wants to be the Peloton of basketball.
Yeah. So it's interesting, though. This one's called Hoop, H-U-U-P-E. But the interesting thing is the people that are investing in this. There are a ton of investors, NBA players, and other people at a very high level. I can't remember some of the other names, but there was a lot. There were I'll be interested to see if this gets anywhere. Yeah. But it was a startup from Milwaukee. So curious to see what happens. A lot of these don't make it very far.
Totally. Well, let me know if they get any of the Harlem Globetrotters on board.
Then you will care.
Then I'll be impressed.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll keep on the lookout.
In case you missed it.
So you took 2 of the M&M classes.
I did. I took one of the shadow boxing classes. I took the one with Rad Lopez, which was the first one that debuted. And then I took the M&M ride with Dennis. And I really enjoyed both of them. But I have to say, downside of the shadow boxing is I feel like it's harder to match the rhythm of the music than it is riding. And so from like getting in the flow of it and just really losing myself in the music,
losing yourself in the music and the moment.
Yes, of course. It was much more fun for me to do the ride. Also, because shadow boxing is all about like telling you what moves to do.
Right.
You really don't get the opportunity to talk about the artist. So there wasn't really a lot of chatter about the music itself or the artist, which some people think is a good thing. So
right.
I'm not trying to say that that's a bad thing, but I personally prefer to hear a little history with mine. And I thought Dennis did a wonderful job capturing the spirit of Eminem. Not a lot of people. And I would not have thought, hey, Dennis is the guy for Eminem. Like if I was like, who's going to teach an Eminem class? Dennis would not be at the top of my list.
Right.
But having said that, he surprised me because, Dennis is a really deep person. And I don't think necessarily people always know that about him. But he talked about the poetry that Eminem actually does and the emotion that comes from that and how he grew up in the spotlight at such a young age. I mean, he started out so young, got popular, got huge in front of the world, had to grow up so publicly. And then he took all that emotion and put it into his music. And that is one of the reasons that he is the juggernaut that he is, because like his music is just so freaking raw. But I have always been a huge fan of Eminem. I love his music. It's just like, even if you don't like the lyrics, just the way it like swells and gets you, you know, it's just amazing. But Anyway, all that to say, the ride with Dennis was a lot of fun. And if you haven't gotten a chance to try the classes, I highly recommend that you do, especially the ride with Dennis.
We have a new drop in the boutique.
We do. It is for the Black History Month, and it is themed Together We Are Power. So all kinds of new stuff dropped. And again, I am not hearing people be super excited about this. They really, really loved last year's and the year before. This year, not hearing so much excitement.
Gotcha.
It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple compared to the last couple of years. And I don't know if that's part of people's reaction. I'm not sure.
Robin Arzon and Daniel McKenna had an Instagram live together.
They did. So you might remember that Robin designed the strength stack for the month of January. Well, Daniel McKenna is designing it for February. So she kind of handed off the baton.
Passed it off.
There you go. So they went live on February 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure it's still out there if you want to check it out.
People love their Wordle.
I do love the Wordle. And so I wanted to make sure everyone was aware that if you are addicted to Wordle, there's also a cycling game that is based on Wordle, and it is called Bikle.
Bikle?
Bikle.
Okay.
So go get your Wordle on.
It is out there for you.
Yeah.
And then also Marcel Dinkins and Kirsten Ferguson have a collaborative playlist for you on the Spotify.
Yeah, remember I told you that they're starting to pair people up in the Peloton Spotify list. So this is a really fun one. You've got some very diverse backgrounds happening here. I love Marcel's playlists. I think they are by far the best. Like she was throwing down in one class today, there was a Tupac song and what is the guy's name that sings Tennessee Whiskey?
Chris Stapleton.
And a Chris Stapleton song in the same class. Like, my hat's off to her. I love that kind of like music playlist that can go from one extreme to another in all different directions. Thank you, Marcel. But anyway, to these two ladies sharing a playlist, I bet that is a lot of fun. They have some very big personalities too, so I bet that was a lot of fun to put together.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube, it is Tiffany Coffee Stuckey. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Well, happy Sunday. I hope you're having a great weekend.
I am. Thank you.
Good.
So I was just curious, is Coffee, is that a middle name or a maiden name?
So it was my maiden name. I actually, when I got married, I wanted to hyphenate my name, but out of respect for my husband's wishes, I just used it as my middle name because he didn't think I'd ever use it as my middle name. And
he thought you were going to drop it.
That's it.
You called this bluff.
Correct. Yeah. So it's everywhere.
I was just like, because if it was like formerly your last name, I'm just like, oh man, I can't even imagine the jokes when you were a kid.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of like, what's your favorite kind of coffee? Did you get a lot of jokes about it?
So, but the ironic part about I got it a lot in elementary school, but as I went on to middle school and high school, everyone just thought that was like the coolest name to have. So yeah, like elementary school, I got made fun of, but once I got into middle school, high school, everyone was just like, "Dude, that's such a cool last name." So
it is a cool last name. But as a person who's a huge fan of coffee,
yeah,
it's yes.
But
absolutely.
you could never open a coffee shop because you would call it coffee.
That's true.
Like that. Although maybe that's a great name.
I was like, that's not a bad thing, Tom.
Now that I say it out loud, I'm like,
it's not a bad thing.
It's time for a career pivot.
Right? Exactly.
Or you could really confuse people and open a tea shop.
I know, right?
Right?
See?
And it's Coffee's Tea. And they're just like, what?
Yeah. So much I could do with my name. Right?
Yes, it's true. It's true. Okay, switching gears to Peloton. I like to start off the interviews kind of hearing where people found Peloton originally. So like, can you kind of walk us through when you found Peloton, how long ago that was, like how that occurred?
Yeah, so I actually have to give credit to my dad's wife because she made the mistake of buying a Nordic Track, the Nordic Track bike, right? Oh. And when I was finally getting serious about my fitness, I already had a treadmill, not a Peloton treadmill, and I wanted to add an exercise bike. So I was doing my research, and finally I went to her because I was in between the Peloton and the Nordic Track. And she said, Tiff, if I had my choice and could do it all over again, I would definitely buy the Peloton. Yeah. So then I actually had my husband jump on board and help me do some research. And when we chatted with both companies, Peloton just seemed to make more sense. So, I mean, I remember one cold night, I literally just called I don't remember the number, but called the number and bought the Peloton sight unseen. 2015, wow. Yeah.
Your father must be a very gracious man that, you know, because you said she bought a NordicTrack, but you still described her as his wife, not his ex-wife. So
it all worked out. It all worked out.
At a happy ending. So I'm just curious, what was her big differentiation that she was just like, whoops, I shouldn't have bought the NordicTrack?
So to be honest, it's number one, customer service. The customer service with NordicTrack was horrible. I know they had dealt with issues earlier on with their NordicTrack bike, and the customer service just flat out sucked. So that was like number one. Then it was number two, the product. And then I think it was number three, everything that, I mean, now that I'm in the community, what Peloton is,
right?
That NordicTrack clearly lacks.
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of people I know that listen to the show that, you know, they use all different kinds of bikes and still use the Peloton, like the app. I couldn't think of the word app. And I often see people say that they wish that they either could afford a Peloton or that they had bought it first. Yeah. But I feel like there's lots of bikes that are good quality bikes, and that's no problem. But being able to replicate what we have as a community, I don't think anybody can replicate that.
Yeah,
I agree.
So you got it in 2018. Now, were you already like a person who works out all the time? Was working out new to you?
So I wouldn't say all the time. I did. I mean, my husband and I started building our home gym with equipment in the basement, but I wasn't using it frequently. But I had finally, like, after trying, so I started out with Beachbody, and I did that faithfully for a while, and then that fell off. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start going hard. And again, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to start looking to incorporate a bike into my workout. So I had started getting back to running. So I was slowly doing that, but it wasn't something I was doing like regularly. I would say maybe once a week.
Gotcha.
So I figured, adding something new into my workout regimen would inspire me a little bit more.
And I'm guessing
sounds like it worked.
Yeah, it sounds like that's going on 4 years now since you got your bike. So do you use it a lot more than what you were exercising before?
So yeah, definitely. Now I'm going to be honest. When I first bought the Peloton, and it's funny because I had to go back and look. So in between May and September, I was like I was still picking it up. I was doing it more than I was on my tread, but it was still like hit or miss.
Yeah.
But it was only until joining groups that I started to really, really flourish with my workouts.
And do you think that's because you made connections with people?
Yeah. And it's funny. I joke with the current group that I'm faithfully in now, where I always used to say, well, I'm antisocial. I'm like, I'd rather okay, don't talk to me. We're good to go. Like, you don't have to speak to me. Like, no, seriously. Like, even when it comes to my neighbors, when I come outside, I'm like, oh my God, I hope they didn't see me. Don't look at me. Don't say where my husband's like the complete opposite. He knows everyone's name. He speaks to them. And I'm just like, don't talk to me. So I'm like, I was that way. So even like, I would like lurk in the groups, and then slowly I started like coming out my shell until September, when my first official Peloton group was the Black Girl Magic group.
Yeah.
And we had a meetup in New York, and sight unseen, I didn't know these ladies from a can of paint. And I got on a plane and went to New York to spend the weekend with a group of women who, what we had in common was Peloton. And that was truly a game changer for me.
I bet. Yeah. I bet. I feel like it was very similar for me. I kind of ramped up my ride slowly, started hearing all these amazing conversations like via the OPP back then. And I was just like, I want to know these people. I want to have all these inside jokes. I want to know what this is about. And next thing you know, we got a podcast.
That's awesome.
So what inspired you to start the group that you have on Facebook for Hannah Frankson?
So what inspired me was when I first found out that Peloton was bringing in a new UK female instructor, and she was Black. That was just inspiring to me because, again, like I said, I had already taken off with the BGM crew, and I just love the fact that we're going to have our first Black female UK instructor. So I social media stalked her, looked her up on Instagram, Googled her name, and was just truly inspired by who she was. So I wanted to be a part of her admin team because fan groups, being in the Peloton community, we know there's fan groups.
Right.
So I wanted to be a part of that team. And I mean, it was literally all she wrote as soon as I got on board, because I'm a go-getter. And when I'm about something, I'm 100 about it. So I went in full force with Hannah because I just wanted her for what I saw, the little bit of Hannah when she first started, I wanted everyone to see what I fell in love with her about.
Aww. Yeah. And I guess when it comes to the instructors, like, you got to kind of strike while the iron's hot, because, those groups can form pretty fast. So you must have. Yeah. It must have been like winning concert tickets, like being color 12.
Yeah, it was really like the day of her premiere ride, I got on board with the admin team. Yeah.
So what do you think it was about her that like you connected with, like her personality wise?
You know what it is? From day one, she even said in her premiere ride, like, what you get is what you see. Like, I'm who I am, and I truly loved that about her. And like her phrase is no behavior, and no behavior could one day be this, but then the next day the no behavior could be that. And I truly liked that about her. I liked who you get on the bike is who you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that.
So she's very genuine.
Yes.
Like, you feel she is who she is.
Yes.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
And then, so the name of the group, let me make sure I have this right. It's Hannah's Push crew, right?
That's correct.
And I know that has to do with because she says push a lot, right?
Yes.
On her rides. So all of the different groups, I feel like they're a little different. They all have their own like micro culture. What is Hannah's Push crew like?
So we're just we strive to make sure we mimic what Hannah gives us on the bike in the group. Which is motivation, which is positivity, which is if one of our group members are down, we're all down. Like, we push each other. I know in one of her recent rides, like she said, what we do is we push each other, and that's what we do. That's the push crew. And that's what we strive to make sure that's represented in our group.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
How does it work with her ride times? Because like you're here in the US, she's over in the UK. Obviously there's a time difference. How do you make that work to be able to join her rides?
So I gotta admit, in the beginning, I was no behavior, and I was getting up at 2:30 in the morning to ride with her. Yes. And I was doing it faithfully. And then I started realizing that because I was on Thursdays was my no behavior 2:30 a.m. rides. And then I realized it truly affected like my whole day, where I was moody, I was grumpy, and that carried on until Friday. Yeah, it was a mess. And it carried on until Friday as well. And then it was just like, Tiff, you got to stop. Like, you can't do everything. You're not going to be she woman. It's okay to not ride this live. And so I stopped doing the 2:30 a.m. rides. But again, we have she has a huge following, not only in the US, but clearly in the UK as well. So, sure. And two of our admins are from the UK, and they took over that portion of that, which was really, really nice. So,
well, that's great.
Yeah, that's got to take some of the weight off. Like that's,
Yeah, I bet it does. And I hear, I know we've interviewed May, her last name, I always pronounce it wrong, but Sarkov. And she's a lady who's been riding the Peloton for forever. And her leaderboard name is May for anybody out there who doesn't know, but she speaks so highly of Hannah all the time, and about how her love for her mom, and how she's just so, she just like talks about whatever pops into her head, but like unapologetically,
That's our Hannah. Yeah.
She's so down to earth, talking about beans and toast or whatever.
Yeah.
That's lovely. I love that.
So how's the growth of the group been? I know with new instructors, sometimes they're kind of coming at us so fast and furious right now. It can be a little hard probably for some of them to get traction. Is she doing okay?
She is. Yeah. And it's funny because they always say, like, I'll read, like, Hannah is the most underrated instructor on the platform. But it's funny, once you give her a chance, like once you ride and you ride with her, you'll see what the hype is. Like Hannah, like there's all I did was give a platform for her followers, but Hannah speaks for herself. Hannah will bring the people. You ride with her and you'll be like, yep, I can ride with this chick. She's dope. Yeah. She is.
Well,
do the British say that?
I don't know. I'm constantly learning the British language, the British language. I don't want to say what they say.
I know they say gutted a lot whenever they're upset about something that it gutted them, which I love. I don't know why, but that term really just like sticks in my head. Yeah, it's so visceral, you know?
No, Hannah will say certain things and I'm messaging the other admins like, what does this mean? I don't know. I don't know what this means.
I think you should start saying it. I wouldn't worry about it. Let white people be on the other in a cultural appropriation for the change. We can handle it.
So as far as the group goes though, can anybody join? Like is it anybody who likes Hannah, or is it like any like a certain only for women or only for, you know, certain age ranges?
No, Hannah welcomes all, and so do we. So all is welcome. Just love Hannah. We love on her on there. So anyone's welcomed in the group.
That's wonderful. And would you say that Hannah is your favorite instructor on Peloton?
Yeah, she is 100%. And I'm unapologetically admitting that. Yes, she is.
It'd be kind of weird if the answer was no.
Well, you never know. People might say things like, I have favorites for different kinds of rides. Like,
she'd get kicked out of her own group.
I know, right?
Just like, I can't say that out loud.
So I will admit this though, because Jess Sims is still my girl and I love her. And she was like who I fell in love with when I first joined Peloton. And so at times I do feel like I'm cheating on her, but I'm like, but Hannah is my girl. She is my girl.
Well, I mean, if you're going to have problems, two amazing ladies who motivate you, that feels like a pretty good problem to have.
And there's not a crossover. Jess teaches on the tread and she does bike boot camp, and Hannah is strength and the bike. So I can have both.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
That's a good way to.
Do you still get to run at all?
I do. Yes. Yeah.
And so like Jess doesn't really teach straight running classes as much anymore. It's mostly boot camps. What kind of classes are you taking with the tread?
Jocelyn.
I love her.
Me too.
She's so real. Yeah. So real. I posted a little video of her the other day because I took one of her classes. It was from yesterday morning, so Saturday morning. And she was talking about... It was great. And she was talking about how like, I'm not ready for the holidays. Like, don't even ask me if I'm ready. Like I'm not. And some people just want to know that they want you to know they're already ready. It just really cracks me up. Yeah. That's true. I love
Jocelyn.
So does Hannah have like kind of a preferred music genre that or is she kind of all over the map? I don't know if you know this, but I don't ride. So
yeah, Tom doesn't ride the bike at all.
I don't like this stuff.
Hannah is she's very versatile. Which is ironic. She not too recently, but she has a rock ride. And it's funny because when I first saw that on the platform, you know, I slid into her Instagram DM and I'm like, Hannah, did they make a mistake? Are you doing a rock ride? Right, I literally did. She's like, no, fan, like that's my ride, and she killed it, you know. So she's very versatile, from R&B, hip hop to the UK grind to rock rides to 80s rides. Like she can do it all.
That's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Was I down here when you were? There was a rock ride you were taking when it was like. It was like lots of 90s rock on it. It was like all the stuff that I used to play when I was on the
I don't think it was Hannah. The reason I asked you about the times is because I have trouble like taking the UK cycling instructors classes. It's been working out with the tread, but it hasn't been working out with the cycling because they teach the times that they're teaching. I'm not working out. And so I don't think it was Hannah just for that reason, Tom. I don't get to take many classes with her.
Yeah, and we noticed when, like, and Hannah had a decent amount of live rides that were friendly to EST time. But when they were gearing up for the new tread instructors, that kind of shifted. So we're hoping if they do another shift of times that they'll be a little bit more friendly for us to ride live with her.
Yeah, that would be good. It's tough because everybody wants their instructors to be, and I don't know. I can't even imagine being charge of trying to switch that around because no matter what you do, you're not going to please people. Like there's going to be some people that are happy, but there's going to be some people that are never happy because it's just not going to be what they wanted. So that's tough.
Yeah.
So let's see. As far as Peloton, are you doing any of the other like content? You said Hannah does strength, but do you do the strength classes too?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite kind of strength that you do? Like, are you doing like any of the boot camps or do you do like the upper body bar?
So I got to be honest, the boot camps really aren't my favorite. But I do like, and Adrian's Thunder 45, I think is what it's called. Oh, I really, really like that. But again, the time that's on a Sunday morning, it's hard for me to get on that. But as far as the other strength classes, I do a variety. So like I'll have an upper body day, I'll have a lower body day, and then I'll have a full body day. So that gives me where I'm like versatile with my instructors because like I can do Adrian, Jess, I could do Rebecca Kennedy too. I love her for the full body. So I'm real versatile when it comes to the strength with the instructors.
Okay, gotcha. So did you say that you got your bike back in 2018? So you've had it since then. So do you mind telling us like how many rides you have?
Oh goodness. Okay, hold on. Let me look. It's funny because I just had a memory that popped up on my Facebook page that this time last year, I just celebrated my 1,000th ride.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm at 1435 for Sightings.
Look at you. Yeah. Congrats. That's fantastic.
So does your husband use it at all?
He does. He does. Yeah. When the Bike Plus came out, when it was first coming out, I had told him, I said, so hon, we got to talk. I said, we have two options. I was like, either I'm going to sell my bike and get the Bike Plus, or we're going to keep the bike and I'm going to get the Bike Plus. So we end up getting the Bike Plus, and now he has the original bike that he rides.
Oh, that's great.
I never thought about that because so many people when the Bike Plus came out were just selling their bikes, but I never thought that like, there's probably couples that they treat it like when you buy a second refrigerator, right?
Yeah,
like you put the first one out in the garage.
That's it.
For your beer. And or in my case for your soda.
Right.
That's 100% my family. Yes, that's us.
And so, there was a story I read a couple years back where they put out all this energy efficiency stuff for refrigerators. And they were like, it's going to completely change electric usage in America because everybody's going to get these new energy efficient refrigerators. And then what happened was everybody went out and bought these energy efficient refrigerators, and then they kept their old crappy ones and put them out in the garage. And they were like, oh crap, nobody got rid of the old ones.
They're like, oh, that's even worse for the energy. Now it's in the garage where it's not, it's even less efficient.
Yeah. And people now have two refrigerators. What have we done?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we have one. So
now we bought a new refrigerator.
We did buy a new refrigerator.
The guy said specifically this was the one for garages. So
that's right. That's
did the
true.
Right thing.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Awesome.
But I find that fascinating. I never thought about that.
I didn't really either. Yeah. So does he ride with Hannah a lot too?
Yes, he does.
Oh, that's nice that you guys agree on a favorite instructor because a lot of couples do not agree on the instructor. Yeah. They have they go back and forth.
It's also nice that you let him ride with a female instructor.
I know. Well,
like, no, you're going to go take a Matt Wilpers class.
No. It's funny though, because before having the two bikes, he would always run with Jess Sims. And I'm like, that's fine. You can have, you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. But then once we got the second bike with Hannah, I was like, listen, there's no choosing, because if I ever have to choose between you or Hannah, she will win. But no, he fell in love with her like I did, just like with Jess.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
Makes life easier too.
It does.
It does. And it's funny because sometimes I'll clip on the bike and he'll clip on after me, and I'm looking over his shoulder and he still clicks on the Hannah rides like without me having to even say anything. So.
Does your husband do any of the other classes like the strength and stuff, or is he just like he's a bike person?
So he's a bike and tread person, but it's funny because when my oldest son started getting into working out, and I kept telling them like, do a chase class, do an Adrian class. Like, it gives you the structure And you're so focused on the class because like what my husband will do is he gets distracted by his phone. But I'm like, when you're into the class, like you don't get distracted by that. So the one day I was down there doing chase and him and my son jumped on the class with me. And then after like 3 months of me telling them to do this, my husband's like, dude, you were right. Like we should do these classes together because it's structured, which I like. And I'm like, I've been telling you to do that for forever.
But now that it's his idea, now it's a thing.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So here and there, he'll hop on the strength classes, but unless like I'm down there, he won't do it because he has a bench, his workout bench. And that's generally what he uses unless he sees that I'm down there and he sees me doing something that's like, oh, let me try that.
It sounds like you guys have a busy household with everybody working out, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like that here.
I use a tonal.
Yeah, Tom tonals, and he doesn't use the Peloton. But the kids, they don't.
The kids don't touch any of it.
No.
Okay. Yes. How old are your kids?
15 and 17 in the house with us, and neither of them are interested. So.
I thought we were going to get Brian interested there for a minute because he's 17.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting a girlfriend anyway. So I guess he's like, no, I'm good.
What am I going to do it?
Right.
Your girlfriend without the washboard abs. So.
Right.
So what is your leaderboard name?
Tiff Cough Stuck.
Perfect.
So Tiffany Coffee Stuckey. Tiff.
Yeah,
yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, is the cough with 2 F's or 1?
2 F's.
Okay. Tiff Cough Stuck. Got it. Yeah.
So do you have any advice for people that are just now getting their Peloton?
Keep doing it. My thing that I kept telling myself, like all the workout regimens, all the quick lose weight schemes that I was trying to do didn't last, obviously. But with the Peloton, someone had told me, now I can't remember who it was, but I'll never forget. It was stick it through because you'll thank yourself. I think it was either 3 or 6 months from now. And so that stuck into my head because, again, I would start things and then stop it. And now literally here I am, 4 years later. And I feel I'm not 100% where I want to be, but I am a lot further than what I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, and you have to find your group. I think to me that was key, finding my group, finding my crew that just encouraged and stuck by you, and just was your pick-me-up. So stick it through, find your crew. And I think that's what Peloton has given me.
That's awesome.
Wonderful
and I don't think anybody's ever 100% where they want to be.
I know, because you know what? We move the goalpost. You know that? We do that to ourselves.
Like when you're losing an argument.
It is because you'll be like, oh, you know what? If I just lost 20 pounds, I'd be happy, Yeah. And then you lose that weight and then you're like, yeah, but I got a little here and this isn't as defined as I want. Next thing you know, you're arguing with yourself again.
I bet you The Rock looks in the mirror and goes, well, over here.
Yeah,
I got these 3 square centimeters right here that I could work on.
Yeah. That's what we do as humans. But yeah. Well, that's great advice. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Before we let you go, just let everybody know where you can be found if you would like to be found.
Well, again, my leaderboard name, Tiff Cough Stuck. You can also always find me in Hannah's Push Push Crew. Also with the tag Push Push Crew, that's where you will almost always find me. I'm always in there, and we're a good group of people. So come join us and ride with my girl Hannah Frankston.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the editors, we will end there. So let's see. This will probably air sometime in January. Okay. And then when it does, the day that it airs, you will get an email and it will have all the socials if you would like to share. And we hope that you do. If you do share, please tag us. And when we share, we will be sure and tag you as well.
Okay. And it's video too, video and audio?
Yeah, we get most of our listens through audio, but we also have a YouTube channel and it'll live there as well.
Oh, that's so cool, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to do it, especially because you never saw the email. You were probably like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew obviously I follow you on Instagram, so I knew who you guys were, but I was like, why me?
I'm glad to get to know you. And that's my favorite part about doing the podcast is getting to know all the other people out there who are just as into Peloton as I am. And I love meeting people who take care of our instructors. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking such good care of Hannah and on behalf of the whole community. So that's really awesome of you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I had the pleasure of meeting her. I went I actually just got back 2 weeks ago from London, and I had the pleasure of meeting her. So she's like everything that's why I could say like she's everything on the bike in person. Like she's just amazing. I love her. Yeah.
So what brought you to London in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah. How did you swing that?
Right. The push crew. I'm telling y'all, like when I tell you I'm antisocial. So once I got my vaccines, it was like, I got to go meet my people. Like I've been talking to these people for 2 years. I have to meet them. Yeah. So I went to LA, I went to Atlanta, I went to Minnesota. And then the last hurrah trip was heading over to London.
That's cool.
Awesome. That's very a big trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was. And it was
we were going to add it to the roster of places to go. And then the pandemic hit and we haven't put it back on yet.
Yeah,
we haven't put it back on yet. So. But we definitely want to go. I've never been, and so
I haven't either.
I like look at all the different tours you can do, and I'm like, it's all from. I'm a classic rock guy, so I'm like, I want to go here because that's where the Beatles were.
Yeah, we're gonna need a week just for that,
just for the classic rock version of the trip I want to take. Yeah,
it was amazing. I loved it, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah,
that's great.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you got to do that. That sounds
definitely
really fun.
It does.
Awesome. Well, we will let you go, but thank you so much for doing this. This was fun.
It was.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
Clip out.
So I guess that's it for this one. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me at Instagram or Twitter on the bike and the tread at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Clip Out. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
and running.